Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. We're so glad to have you here today. So this is our monthly partner webinar, and this month we have a really exciting new focus for everybody. We will be diving into AgileBlue's services portfolio for this session. So this is the session that we're going to be holding every two partner demo webinars. So this is not the one and only services showcase. We will have more in the future. So whether you're brand new to our service offerings or you've been selling it for a while, I think you're still going to walk away from today with some great new talking points and positioning to take this to market and to kind of give you those tools to be able to do so. So we're really excited to get this started. So to just kickstart us off really quick, before we jump in, wanted to quickly introduce everybody to who you're going to be hearing from today. So first, you're going to be hearing from Danny Pickens, our awesome VP of Global Channels. She's going to be kicking us off today with an overview of our channel partner program. So she is also going to come in after Dave as well, after his portion of the showcase, to also kind of tie in why these offerings matter to you and how you can use them to boost revenue and how you can position them in the market. So she's going to have some really exciting insight for us today. Then you're going to hear from David Johnson, our awesome senior solutions engineer. So he's going to be doing our main showcase today for the webinar, showcasing our service offerings. He's going to give you all the details and the full rundown of everything that you came to hear today. And then me, Samantha Dunleavy, our brand communications specialist here at AgileBlue. I will be closing us out with a quick look at our marketing resources and our opportunities for collaboration with AgileBlue that we have available to take these services and our platform to market. So we've got a really great session lined up for everybody here today, and we're super excited to get into it. So with that, just another quick overview of the agenda so you can kind of understand what to expect. Like I said, Danny's going to be talking through our channel program. From there, Dave's going to be getting to the bulk of our showcase today, walking through our full portfolio, including our strategic advisory, cybersecurity assessments, and more. So very excited for that. And like I said, I'll be walking us through those collaboration opportunities on the marketing front. And then I'll be showing my screen as well to introduce everybody to our partner marketing suite if you haven't been introduced to that yet. I'm excited to show everybody that resource and how to access it and log into it. So that's just kind of an overview of the session today. Next quick thing here before we dive in, if you have any questions during today's session, please feel free to drop those in either the chat or the Q&A. We'll be monitoring both of them. We will go over any and all questions at the very end of the session, but that doesn't mean you have to wait until the very end to put those in. As you think of them and they come to mind, you can go ahead and throw those in there, and we will look at those in order at the very end and address them all. Awesome. So with that, we can get into it. So I'm going to hand things over to the awesome Danny Pickens, who's going to go over that overview of our channel program that I mentioned. Take it away, Danny.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sam. And I love seeing the attendees as Sam was chatting, seeing all the familiar names and some new names on there. So just thank you again for joining. We know y'all's time is very, very valuable. So we will absolutely, hopefully, make the best of your time today. I'm going to go fairly quickly because the real star of the show today is our services showcase. So just wanted to show our channel team map for those of you still getting to meet our team. Our partners have been at AgileBlue for a very long time. This is a new team, but I love to show it, especially for our newer partners, to show the investment that AgileBlue has made into the channel program. So we are a growing team. We're actively interviewing and hiring, hopefully by July 1st for the Tola region. And then lots of growth opportunity here, things that we're working on for future program initiatives, our Amplify Scale, all kinds of things that we are cooking up. But on the next slide, you'll be able to see that highlight of Amplify. When we came in, we were building upon the incredible foundation of what AgileBlue had before. Some really loyal partners for sure. But we came in, we created a little bit more clear documentation. We're working on NFR programs. We wanted to make sure that we are showing up and really truly being a partner in the trenches, sleeves rolled up, to support you from an enablement standpoint. Not just training, not just certifications, like truly getting in and helping you uncover opportunities. Whether that's us going in and building out custom tailored programs, campaigns to help you prospect new clients, whether that looks like MDF or events or intent data, or looking into your existing customer base. How do we activate this incredible base that our partners are working with, clients they've worked with for 10, 15 years in the UCAS space, in infrastructure, network. So connecting the dots and just making sure security is that next conversation that you guys feel confident going into. Now, what's after Amplify, right? We're always making Amplify better, but we are doing a refresh on our direct channel program. On the next slide, you'll see some of the things that we're working on. This is Amplify Scale. So for our direct channel partners, our MSPs, our VARs, resellers, we're looking at really activating, amplifying, and scaling that program to support those types of partners that require a little bit of a different path to channel. That looks like tiers and registration, deal protection, all kinds of different scaling opportunities there for those types of partners. Now, it is still going to be the entire soul and strategy for Amplify and who this channel team is and what AgileBlue is altogether. So you'll see the same great things, but just amplified there to support you and us drawing that partnership closer together. I think that might cover my slides. I wanted to be fairly quick there so that we could get to the services showcase. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thanks everyone. I'm gonna request taking over here in a second, and there we go. All right. Hey everyone, Dave Johnson. I'm a senior solutions engineer here at AgileBlue. So what I'm going to do today is actually, if you've attended prior webinars for our partners, I've been the one that demo the SecOps platform, walk you through use cases, technical use cases, and that sort of thing. Well, it may be unknown to some individuals or partners or even customers that we have a whole other side of the business that we provide, security services to. So, whether it be advisory services, ongoing, maturity assessments, incident response readiness, that sort of thing. And so, what we really wanted to do today was just talk about that side of the business because we do find it's a complementary arm to the platform play that we provide here for 24/7 security monitoring as well. And so part of my background, I actually when I started at AgileBlue, I was a part of that team delivering advisory work for our customers, whether that be in the lens of quick deliverable or more of that high level program offering that we do offer as well. And so as we've gone through the journey of kind of refining what those deliverables look like, and trying to make it a little easier for an organization to consume just a simple thing like a security tabletop, just as an example. I'll walk you through kind of the story as far as how we go about delivering these services today, and then hopefully it kind of educates all of you, as far as what we're doing to help our customers out from an advisory perspective. And so the next slide I'm going to show here is really kind of a high level of some of the deliverables that we generalize as far as the delivery side for our strategic advisory group. And so it could kind of be summarized into four. Sometimes it's the ongoing advice support section there, which I'll touch on, is a little bit more less defined, less cookie cutter, right? Where we might have to write custom statements of work for. But in the end, we wanted to also make some of our deliverables very, very easy to go in and write a statement of work for, right? And what I would call more cookie cutter deliverables, right? And so from a high level, the strategic advisory group as a whole is fronted by our CISO and managing director, Lee Butke. He has a team of individuals that have varying experience across the marketplace. So within security, we have an individual that's been a part of Mandiant in the past, right? And he focuses heavily a lot around the security operations optimization side, ensuring that teams have proper playbooks and ensure they know how to respond to threats in a certain way for that. We have other individuals on the team that, a tinkerer, if you will, right? An individual that likes to play around with technology, and he has his own license for M365, just as an example, and it isn't scared to go in and actually work with the client to work with them to improve maybe the deployment of a security technology. And then we do have some other individuals that are more compliance focused and governance focused, right? So when we go into a customer's environment, and let's say we were providing them that full suite of a deliverable or a program, right? Not one individual, it will be involved. It could be multiple individuals depending on the needs of our customers. And that's kind of how we handle a lot of these deliverables going forward as well. So what from a high level, the deliverables are kind of the following. So security posture reviews. So that's more of a posture review related to the technologies that are supporting the organization. A lot of organizations tend to take a defense in depth strategy when it comes to deploying security technologies, right? And a lot of times, those defenses may not be adequately configured. And so, one of our deliverables with this is to really, focus in on those security technologies, make sure they're deployed with best practice in mind, and ultimately determine if there's any risk associated with, the deployment of those technologies as well. The second thing, which we'll touch on a little bit more as I get further through this conversation here today, is our maturity assessments. This is something that we've improved on over the last couple of years, and we found that rather than doing a traditional risk assessment and trying to find gaps to work on, tying it back to a framework such as NIST CSF 2.0. Really allows us to go in and focus on specific pain points for an organization, or what we would call an immaturity, and based on those, being able to build a roadmap and recommendations as far as projects. And in those projects, it's not always technology. Sometimes it's a people issue, or sometimes it's a process issue. And so, with those maturity assessments, we've really standardized the way we deliver those. And I'll get into it a little bit more when I get into that section there. Um, Incident response readiness. So reviewing incident response policies, procedures, even doing tabletop exercises. We'll work with our customers to deliver that to them to ensure that they're ready should an incident actually hit them, at unexpected time, and making sure they're prepared for that as well. And I'll touch more on that in a little bit later as well. And then the last section is really just around ongoing advice and support. So this is more of that undefined set of parameters, right? Not a pure deliverable. We do act in a vCISO capacity as well for some of our customers, right? Trusted advisor, if you will. Not only are we in there, providing program related advice and tackling, risks inside the environment. But I'll walk you through a specific customer use case that we have with our strategic advisory group that do provide, traditional vCISO services, if you will. And I'll walk you through that as I go through the presentation today. But before I get into that, I'm going to pass the next slide along to Danny to kind of talk about the business drivers related to this.
Yeah, no, thanks for switching over. Obviously, guys, y'all all came here for a reason, and why this matters for your business, for your client's business. These assessments for us to run through, work with them on, find these gaps. This doesn't only present opportunities for us from the platform standpoint. This is going to uncover potentially opportunities that would be outside of what we can help with. So this is really a driver in understanding, helping your clients understand their environments. And I know sometimes those can be really tough conversations. Clients want to feel really good. We don't go in and tell anyone that their baby's ugly by any means, but they are needing help and support. There's all kinds of new compliance and laws and restrictions and everything being thrown at them. And then the fear mongering on Google when they search for something, right? So you're their trusted advisor, their advocate. They trust you. Trust yourself to bring up these conversations and help take that to the next security conversation around these services. It's going to help you uncover way, way more than possibly even just our little niche security pieces. Security is a big umbrella. Then there's AI, and it falls into disaster recovery. There's going to be all kinds of things that you uncover that helps your client uncover any gaps or weaknesses in their strategies. And so you're really going to come out looking like a superhero in some of these conversations. Now, and sorry, I'm going to jump back in one more thing, a shameless plug for the channel team. If any of you need help support on some simple email not campaigns, but truly emails that are personalized, that would be direct. Hey, Danny. Hey, Billy Sue. Hey, Amanda. I have a client that I'm working with, and I've heard these pain points come up, but it's, I didn't want to get too far into the tech weeds. I didn't feel that it was appropriate for me to bring it up. How can I do this? How can you help me do this? We have all kinds of support from an agnostic standpoint, not AgileBlue. You, it's all about you. We truly are a channel program, a channel team that eats, breathes, sleeps enablement, and so we want to help support you in those conversations, helping you get into them and uncovering all that opportunity that we just talked about. So okay, now I'll be quiet, David. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah. So really what it gets down to is, one of the areas that we've found that helps potentially identify, potentially even deals for us, right, is around the cybersecurity maturity assessments. This may also identify further technology needs that may go back to our partners for as well, right? So I know that you're not just referring security operations as a business. You're also in the pipeline of network or other security solutions that may be gaps within our customers' environments. And so, uh, where we identified a need for cybersecurity of maturity assessments is really one of our customers came to us and actually had one of these performed. And based on the results of that, they needed, security monitoring and, vulnerability management processes in place and things like that. And that really gave us a good idea prior to them engaging with us from a vCISO and a SecOps platform capacity to really look at the way that that was performed and potentially even repeat that through our own business as well. And so, maturity assessments, what we have found, right, is they're really good at identifying immaturities in the organization. As I noted earlier, that immaturity may be a process, it may be a lack of technology or a lack of personnel. So people, person, technology, right? Or people, process, technology. The maturity assessments, we decided to kind of hang our hat on NIST CSF 2.0 to provide kind of that framework for identifying gaps in customers' environments. And so we look at the kind of the six areas within NIST, right? Govern. So it's more around process and policy, right? And then identification controls, monitoring, logging, that sort of thing. Protection controls, do you have defense in depth that is set to protect the environment should an attacker get in, right? Detection, so monitoring again, monitoring for the gaps within that. Response. How are you responding to threats? How are you responding to outages, issues? NIST even doesn't just focus on cybersecurity. It also focuses on business process, even related to what I would like disaster recovery and items like that as well, more around business continuity. And then lastly, like how good is the organization good at recovering from an incident? Again, not necessarily a security incident, but maybe from an IT related incident or a backup issue or whatever, right? And so when we've done this for certain organizations, we've assessed all kind of six domains, if you will, with all the subcategories that are under there, and we decided to turn this into a more of a goal to identify the gaps to be able to promote further program efficiencies within the organizations as well. And so, a full-blown offering, what this looks like, right, is we're going to go and review all the six NIST functions, all the subcategories within that. We're going to interview, up to 9 stakeholders. If more is warranted, absolutely, we will cover that. And then lastly, based on those interviews, based on the observations that we're seeing, gathering evidence for the organization and doing, some alignment there, really what comes out of it is a maturity score, right? For each one of those areas that we're looking to kind of determine where those weaknesses are, right? The maturity goes from essentially a level 1, which is, every process or everything that they have is ad hoc, right? So responding to a threat, well, they just deal with it. They have no defined processes in place. Level 2 means that they're aware of it. They've got some level of a process, but it's not repeatable. Maturity level 3 is repeatable. Level 4 is using metrics to kind of improve processes, and level 5 is actually putting projects into place to improve it based on the metrics that we've observed through that level 4 sort of maturity. And so really what it comes down to is a lot of the organizations that we partner with don't need to get to a level 4 or level 5, right? Really, what they're trying to do is build out something that can be repeatable that addresses the risk that's in mind. And so, the way that we've done that is conducting those interviews, identifying the risks, immaturities, and then really boiling it down to a set of initiatives that we would recommend through a roadmap or a risk finding report of some sort, right? And those deliverables focus on, as I noted earlier, people, process, and technologies for the organization. So what we've done here through this slide, as you'll notice, right, we've kind of broken it down into deliverable tiers. And pricing can be communicated at a later time. But really what it comes down to is we have kind of a differentiation between the light and the premium, right? And so a light is going to be just a kind of a cursory overview. We're going to interview a couple people. We're going to target, specific gaps that they may know about and ultimately provide them a list of 8 to 10 items we recommend focusing on for this. The next thing, basic, right? We're going to actually pick 1 to 2 NIST functions. So as I talked about governance and identify, protect, detect, respond, and recovery. Having those, the customer, again, we would work with them to understand maybe where they feel their weakness areas are for that, and conduct those interviews, review evidence, and build out the reports, and then eventually deliver that 10 to 12 sort of prioritized actions to the customer so they can focus on communicating that upward. And then standard and premium, right? Again, just expanding the scope more, delivering a little bit more with each one of the deliverables that we have here. Where we find that this definitely resonates is with organizations that are struggling on gathering budget. Again, for anything, right? For people or technology, generally speaking, right? Or people to support the processes. And so, given these risk findings, given these immaturity findings, a director of security may engage with us to conduct this so they can have essentially some ammunition to go to their leadership and say, hey, here's where we currently stand for maturity, here's where I want to take it in the next 12 months. We need to fund this program, right, in some capacity, and I want to go from a level 1 to a level 3, and here's what I'm going to do to make that happen, right? And based on that, the customer themselves will identify, through their budgeting. Yeah, we're gonna accept the following initiatives, and and have budget to go forward with these solutions, or increasing the maturity score in the organization through X, Y, and Z prioritized actions. And so that's where we've really felt like it resonated well, is getting the ability to communicate upwards to the executive leadership to get budget for the following year and defining those roadmap initiatives for that. So the next thing I'm going to focus on is really around our tabletop exercises. Again, more deliverable based work, right? When it comes to that. So first and foremost, everybody does tabletop exercises. We just find that this is a really good arm, given that our platform, our SecOps platform, is kind of an extension of a tabletop, right? So we are the ones that are watching the screens 24/7 with our customers, right? And with that, we're identifying threats, we're escalating things to our customers, and then they react accordingly. And so, as we're observing the environment, identifying threats and responding, certain scenarios may trigger a customer to go into their incident response plan, right? And then activate that. But a lot of our customers, what I would say is, once they get something, they're kind of, they kind of don't know what to do next, right? And so, do they engage with the DFIR provider? Do they activate, the entire plan and work with their IT teams and that sort of thing? That's where this comes in, right? The tabletop exercises are purely a play for us to prepare should something happen in the future. It educates everybody to make sure they understand what their roles and responsibilities are. And it's also there to identify gaps for our customers, right? And on top of it all, we'll even review their incident response procedures and plan should the customer want it. And so, in a lot of scenarios, I've heard scenarios where a tabletop provider comes in and they'll pretend like, all right, you've been infected with ransomware. What do you do, right? And everybody runs around kind of like with their hair on fire. And that's not the way we want to approach it. We want to approach it more of in a collaborative session, right? We bring a scenario to the table, again, based on the scope. We work with the customer to kind of walk through that scenario. But through that engagement, we're asking questions, challenging them. Like, just as an example, in a ransomware scenario, we're gonna ask the question like, hey, Do you actually have air-gapped like backups, right? That would prevent ransomware to spreading to them so you can recover efficiently. Do you have, restore procedures? Have you tested that? What's that process look like? Even to some security controls as well. What are you doing to detect those threats, right? And prevent those threats from occurring? And ultimately, based on the conversations that we've had, we will provide not only that tabletop deck because they might need it for compliance reasons to show that they've conducted it, but also is we also provide a gap report, and that gap report addresses considerations that an organization should put into place to mitigate, not spending three years on trying to fix an issue or trying to fix a security incident, right? And as we go through that process, we identify those weaknesses and then recommend our customer go through and actually fix them, which then may lead to additional, sort of advisory work that we're providing to our customers as well. If they're weak and deficient in a specific area or a process, we absolutely can come in and help advise on that and improve their security posture, especially when it comes to responding to threats and knowing how to do that. And so the way that we broke it out is kind of like three sort of buckets, if you will. The basic tabletop exercise. We have four can scenarios. That can scenario is insider threat, business email compromise, which we see a ton of, ransomware, and disaster recovery scenarios. We will work with them. We'll do a 2 hour tabletop kickoff, or a 2 hour tabletop with the customer, but also do a kickoff to prepare to make sure that the customer understands that this isn't just a one person sort of thing. We want them to include their IT teams and it may potentially legal teams and executive leadership to understand that when an incident does occur, this affects everybody and we need all hands on deck, right? And the more that people know that's their responsibility to jump in a pure incident sort of issue, the better they are going to be responding and understand what they need to do next from that perspective. A standard tabletop exercise. So it's going to be more custom tailored to what the customer wants. We might do an executive one, just as an example, where we focus on the executive's responsibilities during a tabletop. Whether it's, let's say they're a public company and they need to communicate with the press, just as an example. Again, those types of considerations. Are you ready for that sort of scenario to happen? We'll also review their current incident response plan to make sure that it aligns with industry standards and best practices and provide feedback should that, they need to make any changes for that. We'll do a three hour tabletop scenario with there and then also provide recommendations for treatment and gaps related to that. And then lastly is a premium tabletop exercise. So again, more custom tailored, but we also will do more of a deep fake. We can do deep fake and business email compromise, purple teaming a little bit, if you will, right? And work with the customer to make sure that they identify that sort of attack scenario. And then lastly, providing those gap reports that we had talked about earlier for that.
And just to jump in here while we transition, I mean, I hear it all the time from partners saying, well, I asked them, do they have a plan in place? I asked them how the security is and do they feel they're, pretty prepared? And they go, yep. And then where do I go from there, Danny? I mean, these exercises are a great pivot. Oh my gosh, I love hearing that, Bob. That is amazing that you feel confident there. Hey, listen, when's the last time you pressure tested that plan?
Right.
Our kids, elementary, middle school, high school, they all have to run fire drills, right? If the school doesn't run a fire drill in over a year and a half, 2 years, and then there's a real scenario, a fire alarm, something's happening, it's going to be pure chaos. So testing it, pressure testing it, this is a great pivot when you as a partner hear from your client going, oh, I think we're good. We have everything in place. Great. When's the last time you pressure tested it? I've got a trusted partner vendor that I work with that has a great tabletop exercise service. Let me get a call with them and just give you an idea what they could help you with, right? So,
Absolutely.
okay, sorry.
Great point, Danny. No, that's a great point. I appreciate it. Gives me a second to breathe here. So the last thing I'm going to touch on today is really just kind of a customer success story, right? And so less deliverable focus, right, around delivering a maturity assessment or a tabletop. Although we do that for this customer, right? But we have a customer that's based out of New York. they take advantage of our full vCISO suite, if you will. So in full advisory suite that we have today. And so what does that mean? It's less deliverable based, it's more statement of work focused, right? But I do want this to make be known that we're not just deliverable fit focused, right? It can be something a little bit more amorphous to what the customer wants or needs. We've had conversations in the past where, hey, do you need a tabletop or this? And the customer would say, well, like, no, I just need to like call somebody like every so often, right? And get advisory as far as, hey, I have questions around cybersecurity or a solution that we're thinking about or other considerations. That's absolutely what we're here for. We have resources available to be kind of that ears, if you will, or do the full program management, if you will. And so this the one customer that we provide these services to, we're kind of their fractional CISO, that we bring the team of individuals that I had mentioned earlier into that, right? And so what started that? So first and foremost, they had a lot of internal compliance initiatives and mandates from external requirements based on kind of the market that they're in today, providing transportation services for that area, right? And so those mandates required some semblance of a strong security program, but they didn't really have the security resources or the expertise really to kind of understand what was necessary or how they should translate that into operationalizing a lot of the controls that were required as well. And internally, they also had a lot of security initiatives based on those requirements. And so they sought out us, not partially because they had a need for a SecOps platform 24 by 7 monitoring, but they also sought us out from a advisory perspective to go in and actually manage the security program from a whole, right? And so over the last few years that we've provided these services, I think it's actually year 5 now that we're on with them. Some of the things that we've done, so first and foremost, the compliance mandates, right? Um, they received a mandate from a government entity that required them to have a adequate level of security, segmentation and access controls and patching and monitoring, right? And obviously, monitoring was one of the areas that they sought out from us. But we also helped drive a lot of the projects related to the other initiatives that I just talked about, right? So we were in there with the customer, working with their networking team to make sure that we addressed some of the segmentation concerns inside the environment. In addition to that, right, we reviewed access controls for all the in-scope systems that they had with that. And then lastly, even driving a lot of those projects and working with the internal individuals, right? And so what that looks like from like an operationalized perspective is we're doing weekly SecOps meetings with them. We're pulling in our our SOC team as well to kind of give an overview of threats as we're seeing them in the last week, right? And in addition, reporting any project updates with them. We're also doing advisory on a lot of the projects, saying, "Hey, we recommend you follow this versus that. Don't go down that road." That sort of thing from an advisory perspective. We also do on-site quarterly visits with them, where we collaborate with their team once a quarter on site at their location, and we get a lot done that way. In addition to that, I already talked about like security roadmap. We've worked with them to define what their roadmap should look like over the next 36 months based on that engagement. And now we're marching towards completing some of those initiatives as we're getting through the first year of that. We've also conducted tabletops as a part of the deliverable for that, which, we just talked about. We'll even do control reviews, again, looking at their security technologies, making sure that it is implemented in a way that the customer would want us to. And then last few things here is we also do a leadership reporting, project status updates, sign off when it comes to, project charters, that sort of thing. And then the last thing, which I think is really cool too, is we have individuals who have experience in dealing with incident coordination. So we talked about this tabletop exercises, right? Well, if we identify a threat in the customer's environment, a lot of times we're pulled into that. This is the strategic advisory group team as well, and helping manage said incident should we need to actually, I like to call it pulling the parachute cord, a little bit, right? And ensuring that everybody involved is working towards determining what happened, why it happened, and making sure that it's contained and remediated so it doesn't become more of a widespread issue, right? And so we also do the incident coordination side of it, where we ask the challenging questions and make sure that the correct resources are involved with that. So that's what I have to talk about today. I'm going to turn it back over to Sam now to talk about marketing enablement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave and Danny. Thank you for walking us through that services showcase and for not only just letting us know about our services, but also what makes them so valuable as opportunities for partners and makes them valuable for their clients. So that was wonderful. Thank you so much. So let me get my screen up here. So just to quickly pivot here. So now that we've kind of heard about AgileBlue services and why they matter for you and your clients, we want to talk about something else quickly that's also important, and that's how we actually go about bringing it to the market, right? Because half of the battle is, having the right partners, having the right, technology and services to offer to your clients, but also it's being able to communicate what those offerings are to your partners, how to position it, how to take it to market. And that's something else that the AgileBlue team is happy to help with. So let me go to our next slide here. So just to quickly walk you through, I wanted to just touch on really quick, just kind of the three main ways that our marketing team here at AgileBlue can collaborate with you, our partners on the marketing side, and taking our services and the platform to market for your clients. One of the first big ones here is webinars. So we love to, and we often collaborate with our partners on webinars, which this is a really great opportunity for you to introduce the platform and the service offerings to your prospects and to your clients in a way where we can focus it towards their pain points, target it towards your target market, target it towards their needs. So I just wanted to quickly note that, if that's something that sounds like a valuable opportunity for you, feel free at any time to reach out to me or to Danny and everybody on her team as well. I'll be going through a couple of quick ways to get a hold of me too here in a minute. If you have any ideas or if that opportunity sounds like something that you want to go for, we would love to collaborate with you on that. The second big thing here is white label materials and collateral plus new content. So we produce white label ready content and new marketing materials on a regular basis. So you can take what we've created and we can help you white label it. You could use it as is if you're not choosing a white label. You can bring new ideas to us if there's, say a piece of content that you're looking at and you're like, you know what, if we had this piece maybe framed in this way or just something entirely new, feel free to bring those opportunities to us. And we would love to create something for you that will help you take everything to market and be able to communicate everything to your prospects and clients the way that you're looking to do so. So we are happy to help with supplying that type of content. And after this slide, I'll be showing our partner marketing suite, which is kind of our hub for all of that content. So I'll be able to show you where that's located and where to find it here in just a second. And then the third big thing being events. So if you have any, up and coming events, conferences, things like that, that you would like us to jointly attend with you, we are also open to those opportunities and that type of collaboration and would love to. So like I said, at any point, feel free to reach out to me or Danny and her team, and we would love to work with you and do what we can to help you take it to market. Okay. So getting into the partner marketing suite. So like I mentioned before, this is really our one-stop shop and hub for all of our collateral. Just another quick update for anybody that isn't really aware of it just yet. When you go to access this marketing suite, we have a brand new updated login process for this, just to kind of improve security around this portal. You'll now have to create an account. It's just going to ask you a couple questions, name, email, you'll create a password and such. And then you'll have your own registered account and you can access all these materials at any time. So we'll be providing the recording and the deck here to this after the webinar. And right here in the deck on this slide, there's going to be a link to allow you to access the partner marketing suite if you haven't already. So you can kind of save the link and have it ready to go that way. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pull up the partner marketing suite really quickly here just to show you what it looks like for those of you that aren't familiar. So once you create your login, you've registered, and you've made an account, this is what it will look like. So if you're looking at this page, you're in the right place if you're looking for collaboration with us on the marketing front and if you're looking for our materials. So super quickly here at the top, like I said, here's a quick way to get in touch with me. So if you go ahead and click the get in touch or the white label request, that's going to send some communications to me and my team, and we will get in contact right after that to help you with that marketing enablement that you're looking for. Other quick things, there's just some latest platform announcements, some other news and announcements, quick links to join other partner webinars, ways to register a deal for our partner Spiff, other good things like that. And then kind of just to get into the meat and potatoes here, at the very bottom is where you're going to find all of those great marketing resources and collateral that I mentioned. So if you go ahead, say if you're looking to take a peek at our sell sheets, you would just go ahead and click open the accordion, and every single one of these is a link that you will click. I'm not going to open it right now. I'm sure it's going to mess up how I'm sharing my screen. But if you click any one of these, it'll open up into a PDF file that you can download straight to your computer and use however you see fit. Now, if there's something, like I said, you want white labeled, you're like, okay, I really want the Shadow AI monitoring sell sheet white labeled. All you got to do, scroll to the top here, and you can click on our white label request form, and it'll let our team know what you're looking to get. So really just a nice one-stop shop to be able to see what we offer as far as collateral and to just get in touch with us so we can collaborate. Awesome. Go back to our deck here. Moving on to our next thing. Last quick thing that I wanted to mention before we get into the Q&A is another partner-focused webinar that we host. So this is called the AgileBlue Partner Roundtable Series. So this is a really exciting bi-yearly partner-only webinar session. So we shape this session around, key updates, what's going on in our roadmap. We make sure it's positioned to take care or to take advantage of new opportunities. And unlike other webinars, this is also it's a more conversational webinar as well, where you can ask us direct questions to our team. When you go to register for this webinar, actually, there is a part in the form where you can go ahead and submit any topics or questions that you have beforehand. And we will take those into account and kind of shape the webinar so that it's really something that's valuable and really driven by what our partners want to hear and what they want to learn more about, what they want to talk about. So it's really a session that's shaped by your feedback and what you're looking to hear. So on that partner marketing suite, you will see that there was a link to register for this webinar, but also we'll be sending out email invites, and you can also reach out to Danny and her team at any time, and they can share the link with you to register. So we hope to see you there. That'll be coming up here in about a month now, actually, on June 24th. So really excited for that. Okay, now I will stop yapping, everybody. I feel like I've been talking forever. Now we're going to dive right into the Q&A portion. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see what we've got. Oh, let's go back here. Okay. Let's see what questions we've got. Okay, we have a few here. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. Okay. So for partners who are just getting started with services, what is the best first step? Leading with an assessment or strategic advisory engagement? What would be the first step?
Yeah, I
Great
think
question.
that is a good question. It depends, right? And so it depends ultimately what the customer is looking for. Sometimes they may not know what they're looking for, right? But they know that they need to do something. And so I would always recommend leading with a, maturity assessment, right? Whether it be the small one or the largest one that we have, right? Um, it really comes down to identifying the weaknesses. What I would say is majority of organizations that have a security leader will conduct a annual risk assessment. This is exactly that same thing, right? It's just in the lens of NIST rather than a full-blown risk assessment. The reason why we do risk assessments is because we want to identify risks in the environment and then put a plan together to mitigate or remediate some of those risks that we've identified. We look at it in a different lens with our maturity assessment to say, hey, you have a weak area here, and we want you to improve from a 1 to a 3, and here's what it's going to take for you to do so. And so I would always recommend leading with a maturity assessment if they haven't done a risk assessment recently or at all, to identify where those gaps may lie within the organization. That said, some customers may know that they need a fractional CISO, right? And that's where we also help support them in that fashion as well. So it ultimately depends what they want, but really what it comes down to from a discovery, and really we don't know anything today inside of our environment from a risk perspective, is the maturity assessment really uncovers any risk areas inside the organization.
Great question. Let's see what we've got. Someone had asked, how long does a typical cybersecurity assessment take, and what does the client need to provide on their end?
Yeah, so first and foremost, they typically take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. It all dependent on the our customer's ability to meet with us, right? So, whether there's vacations involved and that sort of thing. But generally interviewing for all those categories, getting all the notes gathered, some of the evidence reviews that we may request on their behalf as well, to just show us that they are doing what they say they're doing, from a maturity perspective. I would say typically anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. As far as what the customer needs to provide, it's all dependent on the framework. So we may ask, first and foremost, like a roster, right? Who can help us identify gaps in governance, right? Who's responsible for that and can ask those questions. So really gets around identifying key personnel to interview, for those engagements. And then really what it comes down to is, as we're going through those assessments, we may request, like, hey, you say that you I don't know, disable accounts right upon termination, and that process gets triggered by HR. Can you show us that, that process notifies the relevant people, and then the terminations occur afterwards, right? And we might even talk to those other individuals as well. And so and so ultimately that 4 to 6 week time frame is really what we're striving for. Sometimes they go longer, and it just depends on, the amount of the size of the environment and the amount of technologies or processes involved as well. But we typically aim for that 4 to 6 week time frame.
Great. It looks like we have another one that just popped in. Someone had asked, is the maturity assessment a flat fee service?
It is. So on those tiers, I can share my screen. Just give me 2 seconds here. We can provide partner pricing. I'll leave that to Danny to kind of communicate that out, but bear with me just 2 seconds while I scroll back and get that. Either the maturity assessment and or the tabletops are a flat fee for that, and it's all just dependent on the size of the engagement, right? So this is the cheapest, this is the most expensive, and we do have partner pricing that Danny can communicate outwards. This really just goes into the amount of work that we have to do, right? And how much of a level of effort that would be. And similar with the tabletop exercises, for us to go to a customer and talk to them for 2 hours, beyond a kickoff call, and pull up something that we've already built out from a standard scenario, if you will. It's just, it's easier for us to go into a customer environment and go through that tabletop exercise rather than custom tailoring it and building out slides and making sure that we're addressing all the concerns of the customer as we're tailoring it to that as well. So, but yeah, we do have pricing available. We can communicate that out. I'll have Danny kind of run with that. So.
Perfect. Thank you for submitting your questions, everyone.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah. Another one that just came in: for clients who are hesitant to invest in services, what's the best way to frame the ROI or business case? Great
Business
question.
case is, I would say the business case is, risk identification, right? Or at minimum, and again, it depends why they're talking to us to begin with, right? If they may be coming to us for a compliance requirement, such as the one customer success story that I shared, right? They knew they had a lack of expertise and personnel to help drive and know what to do with the requirements, right? And so the business case there was, well, we have experts that can help manage and guide your team to, implementation of procedures or policies, or even some technologies as well related to that. Um, Really, what it comes down to, though, is identifying these, with your downstream customers, or the teams that you're providing these services to. Asking simple questions sometimes lead to identifying opportunities. We had one call. It was late last year with a customer of ours where I was going to do a demo of the platform, and the customer continuously was voicing their concern around justifying budget for people and all that. And my one of my questions I asked them was, "Hey, like, we have this maturity assessment. Is that something you consider, right? It sounds like you're having issues justifying budget. So why not use this maturity assessment as, as a supporting document to go to your leadership and request budget to help move along your weak areas, and that if this is something they want to address, they're going to have to fund it in some capacity, right? And so we've used it in that capacity. And so as far as like a return of investment, it really just comes down to risk identification, right? And really more around the business case than anything, to really help drive, hopefully action on the customer side to help kind of close the gaps wherever those may lie within the organization.
Awesome. Really great questions, everybody. Thank you so much for sending those in. I think that is all the questions that I see right now. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again to show everyone just some quick contact information for me, Danny, and for Dave. If anybody has questions later on, feel free to shoot any three of us an email and we'd be happy to address whatever questions you have. So once we send out the deck here, you'll have our emails and you can send us any questions that way. Or in the partner marketing suite, you can contact myself that way. Um, here go. So that is everything for today's session today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Your time is so valuable, and we're so appreciative that you decided to spend the hour with us to hear about the service offerings that we want to run through today. Like I said, we'll be sending you the recording and the deck shortly after this, so keep an eye out for that. And we hope to see you next month at our partner roundtable. If anybody, like I said, wants the link to that, feel free to reach out to myself or Danny and her team, and we will pass that along. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll
Thank you
talk
all.
soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Dave. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.